Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the review for this Moto G Turbo Edition. And this Moto G Turbo Edition is actually very similar to the regular Moto G3 that was launched a couple of months ago. The biggest difference with this Moto G Turbo is that it has a new chipset, that is the Snapdragon 615 chipset, and due to that the nature of the phone has changed a little bit compared to the regular Moto G3. So I'll be comparing the Moto G3 with this Moto G Turbo, and at the end of the video I'll say if this Moto G Turbo is better for you or is the regular Moto G3 better for you. And before we continue, let me give you a configuration overview. This Moto G Turbo Edition is powered by the Snapdragon 615 chipset, which is actually an octa-core processor divided into two quad cores. The first powerful quad core is clocked at 1.5 GHz based on the ARM Cortex A53, and the other quad core is clocked at 1 GHz. This is also based on the ARM Cortex A53. That means it's 64-bit enabled. Regarding RAM, it has 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of internal storage, a micro SD card. Moving to the screen, it has a 5-inch 720p HD screen with Gorilla Glass 3 protection. It also has IP67 certification. Regarding the camera, it has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera with dual LED flash. And moving to the front-facing camera, it's a 5 megapixel shooter. It has a 2470 milliamp hour battery, and it also supports turbo charging. So as you can see, in terms of specification, this Moto G Turbo is very similar to the regular Moto G3 apart from the chipset. And in fact, also in terms of the in-hand feel and also the battery capacity is the same compared to the regular Moto G3, that is 2470 milliamp hour battery. I'll talk about the battery life later on. Some of you have asked me about the battery life and some of the heating issues, but again, from the looks, I would say, and even if you pick up the phone, it'll be very difficult to figure out if this is the regular Moto G3 or the Moto G Turbo, because it's identical, and also in terms of the in-hand feel and the weight, it's the same. Now actually let me talk about some of the questions that I was getting about this Moto G Turbo, and quite a few of you have asked me about any heating issues on this Moto G Turbo, and some of you were worried because it has the new Snapdragon 615 chipset. The thing is that yes, it will get a little bit warm while charging because Motorola has supplied us with this Moto Turbo charger, which is actually a fast charger. Actually, this charger is also used on the Moto X Style, which is a premium handset. But the thing to note is that with almost any phone that supports fast charging, for example, even this Nexus 6P supports fast charging, they heat up while charging. So that's the same. So some people have noticed that when you charge it, it gets actually pretty warm at the back, but that is sort of normal. But in terms of day-to-day usage, I would say I use this phone for almost 10 days, and I would say yes, it gets a little bit warm at the back, but I would not say that it is heating up or exhibiting any excessive heating. In fact, I also did some gaming with this Moto G Turbo, and as you can see, it performed actually very well in gaming. And even after about 15 odd minutes of gaming, when I tested the temperatures were around 42.5 degrees to a max of about 43 degrees Celsius. So in terms of heating, I did not exhibit any excessive heating. It's the same that I've noticed with the regular Moto G3 and also with other smartphones. So yes, it does get a little bit warm at the back, but it does not exhibit any overheating issues. And now moving to the performance of this phone, this phone performed actually very well. It runs Android Lollipop without any issues, and for the most part I would say it ran it very well, and I did not notice any slowdowns and stuff. So it handles it very well, and that 2 gigabytes of RAM handles Android L very well. So in terms of day-to-day performance, I had no issues with this device. Some of you have also asked me about the cellular call quality. I tested this phone with just a single SIM, and the cellular call quality that I was getting on this device is actually very good. Also, it has a front firing speaker. It's over here at the bottom, and even with the speaker phone, the quality was good. It's loud and clear, though it's not what do you say, stereo speakers, but the quality of the speaker was decent, and it also supports USB OTG. Now moving to the battery life, some of you have asked me about it because this one also has the same capacity of battery, that is 2470 milliamp hour, and the battery is actually sealed inside, so you can't replace it. And in terms of battery life, I would say the battery life was good enough. It could easily last me for a full working day. But when we compare it with the regular Moto G3, I would say the battery life that I was getting on the regular Moto G3 is about 10% better compared to this Moto G Turbo. In terms of screen on time, I would would say I could get slightly over 4 hours of screen on time with this Moto G Turbo. But with the Moto G3, when I tested it about 4-5 months ago, I could get over 4.5 hours of screen on time. So the battery life is good enough, I would say, for a daily use. But certainly the Moto G3 has slightly better battery life. But the good thing is that this Moto G Turbo has that fast charging, so you can charge it actually very quickly. Now, when we talk about the charging time, as it has this Moto Turbo charger, I timed it and the results are like mixed in my opinion. I expected that it would charge a little bit more faster, but when the phone was at 9%, I put it on charger and I timed it, and to reach 100%, it took 1 hour 40 minutes. So yes, it charges quickly compared to the regular Moto G3, but it's not the quickest, I would say. So for a full charge from 0 to 100%, if you're using this turbo charger, it will take about 1 hour 50 minutes. But let's say if you are at 20% or stuff, and if you just plug it in for about 30 minutes, it can reach almost about 55%. So that way the quick charging works very well. Now let me actually break down this device between the pros and the cons. Let's first talk about the things that I actually did not like on this device. And the first negative aspect is the screen quality. It's the same screen quality that we have seen on the regular Moto G3. There is no improvement in that. And I would say at that time, I was not very critical about the screen quality because the Moto G3 basic version was priced at just around 11,500 or so. So at that price point, that 720p screen was okay, I would say. Still, I don't have the problem with the 720p HD screen. That's okay. I don't want a 1080p screen. But the quality of the screen, now as this Moto G Turbo is priced around 14,500, which is almost very close to about 15,000, I feel Motorola should have put a better panel. The thing is that the contrast levels are not that great. And also when we tilt the phone left to right, there is slight color shifting. It's not a bad screen, don't get me wrong, but I expected slightly better screen because at this price point, the competition certainly gives a lot better screens. Now moving to the sensors, again here I was again disappointed because it does not have even some of the basic sensors like the compass sensor. As you can see, the compass sensor simply gives an error that the sensor is not available on the device. Though I did test it with GPS navigation and that worked fine, but always the compass sensor helps, and also it does not have the other sensors, high-end sensors like the gyroscope and stuff. So again, Motorola skimmed on the sensors, just like the Moto G3. Now moving to the camera, here the things get actually very interesting because even the regular Moto G3 has a 13 megapixel camera, and this one also has a 13 megapixel camera with dual LED flash. But the performance that I got from the camera was very different. In outdoor conditions where you have a lot of plenty of sunlight and bright light, the pictures came out to be really good. But when we moved to artificial light and indoor lighting, the camera performance was surprisingly not that good. Here I would say the regular Moto G3 performed a lot better. But when we talk about the video quality that I got from the rear facing camera was actually very good, and in fact the video was very stable. Even when I was walking, the video was very stable. So surprisingly, the video performance has increased, but in artificial lighting and in indoor lighting, the camera performance has decreased. So that's again a thing that was a little bit puzzling to me. Now let's move to the things that I actually liked on this device. Also, when we move to gaming, here I would say we have a big improvement with this Moto G Turbo. With the earlier Moto G3, with some of the heavier games, there was some noticeable lag on those games. But when I did some gaming with this new Moto G Turbo, it ran all the games and even very heavy games without any issues. So if you are a person who games a lot, then definitely this Moto G Turbo is a better bet compared to the regular Moto G3. Also, again, as I've told you, the in-hand feel is again very good and it feels very comfortable in the hand. So to conclude, I would say this Moto G Turbo is a very interesting handset, and it's not for everybody. I would say if you're a person who does not care a lot about heavy gaming, then I would suggest that you stick with the regular Moto G3. That would be a better bet. But if you are okay with the slightly higher price of this Moto G Turbo and you are a person who does a lot of gaming, then this Moto G Turbo might be a better device for you. Again, I have also posted other videos on this Moto G Turbo covering its aspects like its gaming performance and also a dedicated video regarding the camera performance. So make sure you check them out. And if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit and I hope to see you in my next video.